And I'll
and we're gonna
confirm on
go.
mine too if I see that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Cool, cool. I think it should work.
Yep, we're good.
Looks like we're all right. We are recording. Awesome. Recording. Good to go. All right. Hey, welcome. I'm real excited. We're here. The Healthy Dose. It's been a while. We've been all too busy getting healthy to have any time for extra Healthy Dose shows. But I welcome. This is, I think, the very first one of the new year. Look, we're in March, 2 months flying by. When you get old like me, and not young like James over here, and we'll be talking in just a moment. But when you're 30, 32 like me, just wanted to welcome you to new episode of the Healthy Dose Show. Welcome. If you're coming on here live, let us know you're here, and just shoot down there. Just go a little thumbs up, say hello, welcome, wave to us. I'll pull it up on my phone so I see you. If you're catching this on the replay, I know a lot of you, if you just have your regular jobs and it's 2 in the afternoon, you're like, who's got time for the Facebook Lives? So I just want to make sure that if you do catch us later, we thank you, and we can connect with you and answer any questions that you have. But today we're going to talk about, I'm really, really excited to share. I think the energy levels is going to be out of the roof here between James. I thought I had somebody, I was like, who's got some energy that can kind of match mine? And I think his actually surpasses. But we'll jump right in. We're going to talk today about really five tips specifically to avoid injuries during exercise. And whether you're young or old or anything in between, we know that's something that does come up. It can come up at a young age. It can come up at an old age. It can continue throughout your health. And if you're trying to live a healthier lifestyle, if you're trying to actually do something positive and productive, but you're kind of crippled, so to speak, because of maybe some old injuries, or you're worried about something coming up because you have some arthritis, we want to give you really, truly some tips to help you with that. Something that you can actually take out, at least maybe one of these five, and you can take out of the room and start applying to your health and fitness plan. And with further ado, let me just share with you James here. James and I got connected through, you've heard from me talking about working with a coach, right? I'm an advocate of coaches. And I also, when I see other coaches, specifically even younger coaches that hire business coaches that have people in their lives to help guide them and direct them and give them not just accountability, but clarity. To me, that's like, I got super respect for that. And James and I got connected. We've been in the Vince Del Monte 7-Figure Mastermind for a little while now, and he's a New Yorker, so northern. Even though I've been here in Florida for the past 19 years, my blood is from New York. His is from New Jersey, right? Born and raised in New Jersey.
Born and raised in New York, but I've been living in New Jersey for most of my life. Yes, sir.
All right. So you're north, yeah. So you're Yankee, right? I mean, pretty
Yes,
much.
sir.
Originally from New York. Is that when
Yeah.
you were born? Whereabouts?
Yeah, born in New York. I was actually born in New York, downtown hospital in Manhattan, and then
Nice.
I moved to my parents started their own restaurant business here around the age of, I believe I was like 4 and a half, and then I started kindergarten at 5. So I've been here. Forgot how old I was, Mark. You're making me feel old here. I'm 24. So I think I've been in New Jersey for 19 years now, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha. Yeah. And one of the things that what I'm impressed is you literally, and I say somewhat now, I think what I'm excited for is being twice your age at 48. And that's kind of crazy to think.
You're not
Is
48.
For 24, I'm 48. So for 24, having 7 years already under your belt in the industry space, literally starting right from high school. So before we get in, let's just share, if you can kind of take us back to maybe how you got started just from the high school and how you got into fitness. You shared with me about, some overcoming some injuries and things like that. You want to just kind of give us a nutshell of overview where you've been at?
Yeah, sure, man. Mark, first and foremost, it's a pleasure, to be here. Thank you for having me. I definitely look up to you, and you're definitely doing big things in this industry for a lot of people. So thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And yeah, to get into it, I mean, nothing much exciting about me. I'm just my name is James Shang, 24 years old. I live in New Jersey. I've been coaching for 7 years now, and I specialize in helping men and women all over the world burn stubborn body fat, burn that unwanted body fat predominantly in their belly, but without all the crazy restrictive dieting, the impossible, meal by meal eating every 2 hour type of nutrition plan, or spending hours in the gym doing, pointless cardio. And the reason why I do that is because, I want to show people that, health and fitness is a very important part of life. It's a very important part of your life, but it doesn't have to take over. It doesn't have to be everything. Balance is key. Balance is everything. You have to balance your personal life, time with your friends, your family, your loved ones, your kids, husband, wife, whatever it is. So yeah, I've been doing this for 7 years, and I started off. I was a high school basketball player, but yeah, I'm not sure if you guys can tell just sitting down. I'm not very tall, so I'm only 5'4" on a good day. If I stretch a little bit and I have some, Nike Air Maxes on, it'll give me some extra height. But I'm only 5'4", so basketball didn't work out for me. And from there, I got made fun of a lot. I am a minority. I am Chinese, for those that don't know. I got made fun of a lot. I went, to a school where I was just, there was like, it was mostly, Caucasians, and I was like the only Asian. So I just wanted to boost my confidence and just really like, identify who I really was and who I wanted to be. So I started working out, getting in the gym. I started looking good. Part of it was, to attract, women. Not so much now
Heck yeah.
anymore. Right. Not so much now anymore. Now it's like, I'm good. I'm settled in, but it's like, yeah, I just wanted to find a passion for something, man, because I knew that unfortunately I wasn't going to make it to the pros in basketball. And once I found a passion for that, people saw me as an inspiration. They decided to reach out to me. And, I started helping one person locally, then it turned into two, and then it turned into like hundreds and thousands. So here I am now on Mark's show. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So tell us, so you got out of high school, you said you started coaching and training out of high school, basically after doing the sports and, having that drive and having the access, whether you made it professionally or made it to the next level, regardless, you still had that drive of wanting to pursue a sport, right? To pursue activity. And I think a lot of people you find is either they've had an injury over time or they've had something that's pushed them to want to better themselves, whether it be just to be maybe in a different type of school, being a minority in that sense, and then overcoming those things. So you've already overcome so many obstacles, like just challenges over the years, even at 24. But for 7 years now, let's talk about the 7 years. You started out right out of high school and you started training and coaching people in a gym or in a training studio. Where was that?
Yeah, so right out of high school, so it was crazy. It was actually, Mark, it was right after I competed in my first bodybuilding show. I did Men's Physique, which for those of you that don't know, it's the guys. I wasn't wearing, the underwear up there. I was too shy for that at the time. So I was wearing like, the swim trunks, the ones that you and I would, see at, typical men wear on the beach. And after, competition shape, you're like more lean, you're more shredded. Your body stands out more than the average person. So I had, people at the gym started reaching out to me like, hey, like over like social media, Facebook, Instagram, hey, like, can I train with you? And I'm like, wait, you want to train with me? Like, I'm just a regular guy. Like, I'm just in here having fun. And then, when I, like I said before, one person turned into two turned into three, and it started with in person. And then I decided to take my business online because I just couldn't give up the freedom anymore, Mark. I know it's crazy to say I'm 24. Well, you have all the freedom. You don't have kids, but like nobody understands. Like I was living in the gym. Like it wasn't fun anymore. And I wanted to help people from a virtual standpoint where I could provide more value, more accountability, and just give them more, but be able to work from home and still do, what I love.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's something that I didn't have that as even an option. So for us old guys, like you were working in the gym, you were helping people, you tried to get them as your client, but there wasn't at the time really like as far as internet or even the options. Like I never, if you were to ask me 10 years ago or 7 years ago, even no way. Like I owned a gym 7 years ago. I thought that was the end all be all, right? Or to have your own training center and have, and here I am doing online coaching, right? Next to some of the best, the best coaches in the world.
Right.
And that's what I think is exciting now for the consumer. It gives them the opportunity to work with the best, regardless of where they live. That's what's really awesome. And to get into our discussion, because I think we should lead into that, the top tips to avoiding injuries during exercise. The first thing is I know that I've had some injuries over the past. In fact, I just got done. I was sharing with James earlier about my workout, and I have a coach. I've mentioned this before that I work with a coach for accountability and to keep me pushing forward, to help me stay on a clear path in a busy lifestyle. But this workout today was just, oh my gosh, it was hard. And I was kind of rushed a little bit. So I felt it after like my second exercise. I was like, oh, if I go a little harder, I got to just be careful. So I just kind of pulled back the reins. It's something I wouldn't have done. And I know, you had shared just a little bit, and I'll let you talk about injuries. Like if it's a reality for us coaches who are at a higher level in fitness and we understand the body, I said for the average person, the average mom or dad, or even the average young person, it's something that I think it's well worth us having a discussion and talking about, right? Because truly, like, injuries can be debilitating. They can prevent your results. They can cause you to gain weight, cause you to be unhealthy, and next thing you know, you're giving up, right?
Yeah, very important, Mark. You make a great point, because let me just put it this way for the people out there as simply as possible. What's the good of getting into the best shape of your life, or becoming quote unquote healthy, as a lot of people say, if you can't sustain it? Right? What's the good of getting, how young, how old you are? It really doesn't matter. What's the good of getting a six pack and being able to do, I don't know, 30 push-ups if, every single day you're icing your shoulders or you're icing your knees because you're so inflamed and you're so banged up, from training that hard, right? So that's why, like, injuries, a lot of times they hold people back. They stop people from getting what they really want. You see it in athletes all the time, Mark. Regardless if they're fresh out of college or they're, about to retire, injuries hold people back from becoming, and unleashing their maximum potential, in achieving their fitness goals. So what we have to do is we have to prevent that if you want to ultimately thrive, to be the best version of yourself physically.
Yeah, I mean, it's so awesome to hear this from you too. Is that I think even because you have a little bit of a younger market, although you work with people in their 40s as well and 50s, but a
Definitely.
little bit younger starting out. And I typically work with a little older, so
Yeah.
I'm working with people after they've made those mistakes, maybe whether they put the weight on and they have the knee replacements, and
Yes.
it's either one of two. It's either they've never really been in shape their whole lives, or they used to be able to do the biking and the spin classes and the running and the exercise stuff, and they can't do it anymore because of injuries.
Yeah.
But I think it's great just to hear for you, and I just, this is my hats off, because there's a lot of coaches and trainers that don't get that don't understand the importance of staying injury free or being able to just work through injuries. And that's why I think, having access to a great coach, whether you live in New Jersey or in Florida, that's a beautiful thing. And working with somebody, say, online, versus just being stuck maybe with your neighborhood trainer who you don't know. Maybe, I'm not saying they would be bad, but necessarily, at least you have more options now. At least you can reach out, to people like James and myself. And I'll tell you what, let's jump into, there's 5 tips that I want to share, and maybe have a short discussion on each. And the 5 things, there was 100 things I was thinking about, but really 5 things. One of the first things is, and this for all ages. So if you're listening and you're younger, or even if you're older, it's one of the things I advocate, and I'm sure you do as well, and is keeping hydrated. Like, very important, hydration, keeping your body fueled with not just, not just with healthy foods, but water. It's something that we tend to forget. So what would you like to say on that?
Yeah, hydration is so freaking important. I mean, the statistics and science doesn't lie, right? About 70 to 80%. I mean, we've heard different things, but I've always gauged off 70 to 80% of your entire body, Mark, is water. So you have to drink water, and you have to make sure you're hydrated, you're lubricating your joints, you're refueling yourself, you're giving yourself the replenishment and the hydration in order to keep going, especially, when it's, I know, Mark, down there, you're in Florida. I'm jealous because right now you're in short sleeves. I see nice. I'm in New Jersey. I got like 3 layers on over here. I'm freezing in my own house. It's like 20 degrees here, but especially when you're in areas of warmer climate, of hotter climate, you have to make sure you're hydrated, because you're putting it as simply as possible. Your body doesn't have the ability to build that endurance and go longer, work out longer, train longer, walk longer, whatever it might be, walking your dog longer, unless you hydrate. So water is extremely crucial. Stick to your fluids, and honestly, I'd recommend that if you're not, at least drinking half of your body weight in ounces, try to work your way up to that slowly until that becomes a daily habit, to the point where, maybe listen, you might be going to the bathroom every 15 minutes, but at least that when you're hydrating yourself properly, and you're doing the human body, you're doing the human body a favor. So yeah, very
Yeah,
important.
if you're hitting to the bathroom, especially as we age, we tend to go there even more often. But and I can attest. But hey, if you're running to the bathroom, at least you're not running to the kitchen to get more snacks. All right, so there you go.
Mark, that's a good point. That is a great point.
And you know, with our body is made up of so much water, and also we got to think of our brains if important to make good decisions. And when it comes to training and working out, and like I'd shared earlier, I had to make the decision to back off because I was doing something that was another level for fitness, but I wasn't like I had to back off. So I had to think and make sure that I didn't act like the typical male in his 40s that thinks he's back in his 20s and then stepping beyond my capabilities. And fortunately, having a coach for me has been a helpful, really helpful. I can reach out and say, "Hey, this is a little too much. Can you help me adjust this?" And I wouldn't have done that. And I know, James, you just shared with me earlier. Want to just maybe share what you're working through some injuries yourself, and you know, that's something that we both learn from that, right?
Yeah, Mark, these two bad boys, I'm 24 years old and I don't even have two healthy shoulders. So that's why I didn't quite believe first when Mark said he was 48 because he looks better than I do at 24. He could be my dad. So he's definitely not 48. I don't really know what he's telling you guys on a daily basis, but he's maybe he's pushing 35 on a bad day. No, but I listen, I've coming off of my most recent bodybuilding show at the end of 2018. You're dieting. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but you're dieting for a long time. You're in extreme calorie deficit. Bodybuilding diet is no joke. And after the show, you get to load back up. You get to load back up on the carbs. You get to load your calories back up. So I had like an abundance of energy, Mark, and I just stepped foot into the gym and I was just putting up weight, just being a young, stupid kid and just putting up weight that I never put up before. Now I was able to get the weight up. I felt good. I was looking good, but I didn't know that it was damaging, my joints and my shoulders and my rotator cuff and all that stuff to the point where I tore my labrum, had to go into surgery for this shoulder early 2019. And then as I was at physical therapy trying to recover my left shoulder at physical therapy for this one, I tore this one. So I don't know if that's just James's bad luck or that's just, God's plan for me. I don't know what it is, but I have two really messed up shoulders. Mark, as you know, I spoke to you, I believe, last week. I just got an MRI again on the right one, which is the one that I had my most recent surgery on. And thankfully, nothing came back retorn. I just had some inflammation, but that's what happens. That's what happens when you don't train smart. That's what happens where I have a terrible habit of like not warming up. You end up hurt and you end up, 24 feeling like you're 50. And I don't say that as a joke. It really bothers me. I'm not able to perform at my maximum potential because of these injuries. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I appreciate for sharing. It's just keeping it real, right? Like, as much as we help people, and I would say that James doesn't probably work with the typical bodybuilder in that sense. He's worked with average people with like with busy schedules that are families or maybe starting out in a career type option, and they need that. So when you get to that level, it's so hard just to stay on track as just a regular guy, right? It's hard to stay when you start meeting that elite level. You have to perform at an elite level. So any small little changes. So let's break it down for the average person that's probably watching, somebody that maybe one of your clients or somebody working with me, in senses that and this is something you got to learn. This is number 2 in the tips, is you got to understand the difference between good pain and bad pain. And I say that is in like soreness, good pain and bad pain, because there's a difference between, and I'm sure you felt a good pump and a good muscle soreness even after the workout and you build up. And if you haven't felt that, you probably need to reach out to James or I so we can get you on the right plan. So you're actually feeling your workout so you can get some results. But there's also the other kind of pain. There's pain where you don't know how hard to push. You don't know where to start. You don't know how to progress. And any or all of those 3 things can lead to what? Injury. Right. So if they can happen on an elite level, working with somebody, James, who's on a competition level, they sure as heck can happen to, the average person who's just trying to hit to the gym and keep the weight off and try to get bathing suit ready, or, the mom's trying to get rid of the muffin top, like that sort of stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So understanding good and bad soreness. Do you want to touch on the good and bad soreness?
I mean, Mark, everything that you said was, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head there. And I just want to kind of just add a little bit to it. I mean, yeah, like here's the number one thing, right? Like people, when they work out, sometimes like they get sore. Like I hear this all the time, Mark. I don't know about you and your clients, but like they'll get sore or they'll get like, the next day their muscles will be a little bit fatigued, for a better word to describe. And they're like, well, James, why am I not as sore as I was last week? Or why am I not as sore as I was, I don't know, 4 months ago when I did this crazy workout I found on, the internet on bodybuilding.com or Yahoo Answers. I don't know, this crazy websites, right? And I'm like, and at first, the first thing I just say is being overly sore versus what Mark said, like having a nice pump, feeling good, feeling tight in your skin, feeling tight overall. There's a big difference. If you're like in pain, like that's something that you need to kind of like evaluate. I don't know, maybe go see like a massage therapist, or maybe go see a chiropractor. But being sore is good because it could be one indication that you're doing the right thing. Now, in regards to, if you're not sure what to do, like you said earlier, Mark, the pain of just like not knowing, the pain of just not having maybe that exact knowledge, well, then you need to reach out for help. Because if you're going to go into the gym and you think that you could just step foot into the gym and just go to the machines and just, follow whatever's on the machines, or, do this 1,000 times without getting hurt, one small tweak or one small move in the right direction, or, you get up too fast, or I don't know, I've heard it all, and it's over for you. And Mark, I know that you work with people that are a little bit closer, like to your age group. I do too, but the majority of my clients are probably like around mid-30s.
Yeah.
When it gets to that point, it might be too late. So my point here is do it right the first time. Do it right the first time. Reach out to like someone like Mark for help. Reach out to someone like me. Do it right the first time, or you're going to pay for it for the next 10 years.
Yeah, it's you're going to pay for it, right? I mean, I always tell people you're either going to pay now or pay later. So I think for the younger audience too, one of the things is to learn. It's just like any of the people we work with, right? We want to learn. You're going to learn even when you're in your 50s. You want to learn. If you've been failing on diets, you want to learn from them. So why? Because so you don't make the same mistakes over, right? We learn from our coaches in business what we are doing right. And hey, great, keep doing what you're doing right. But if you're doing something that's not really working, guess what? You probably need to change what you're doing. So if you're doing an exercise that you're not too sure if it's hurting you or helping you, that probably, so you avoid injury, is to make sure that you have some expert help that can understand, whether it be your doctor telling you, yeah, it's safe to do some strength training using weights. Make sure you have somebody help you, right? Because typically doctors aren't coaches or trainers, they're doctors. They help you for the things when they go wrong, right? When the things are wanting to go right and more right, then that's where we come into play. So, that ties in. So number one is hydration. The number one, the first tip, not in any order. Number two is understanding good and bad soreness. And I say like bad soreness because a lot of times people say, oh, I'm hurt. Like a little bit of soreness is okay. But when you get soreness from maybe one workout that's lasting probably 3, 4, 5 days later, chances are you probably weren't ready for that workout. I'm going to feel sore. 25 years of doing this, I'm going to feel sore after my workout, but I know how to adapt and adjust. And one of the things is the next tip, and that's knowing how to warm up. And I think you mentioned about warming up, and that's something that I did warm up. I used a foam roller. I did some dynamic, but I didn't, for the amount of work I had today, I probably should have spent a little bit more time, but I was a little pushed for time. So for me, instead, I backed off on the workout a little bit. In hindsight, I wish I took a little more time in my warm up because I probably would have had a better workout. The importance of the warm up. How important is the warm up?
Mark, it's so like I feel like it's more important than the workout itself, because if you don't properly warm up, how are you going to get an effective workout? Boom. Right. So like you said earlier, like, and this is something, again, I'm really bad at. I'm just going to be I'm always very honest. I told Mark as soon as I'm like, Mark, I hope
that's why I like you. Be real, man.
I'm going to be very blunt with your audience. Okay. I don't warm up enough. And that's just the truth. Have I gotten better at it? Yes. After, 2 torn shoulders later, right? Yes, finally I've learned, but the warm up is so important. Take your time with it. Foam rolling, like Mark mentioned, was great. I love foam rolling. Or whether it's just, you want to hop on the arm bike, you want to hop on the treadmill, get blood flowing to your muscles, warm your muscles up, because the colder your muscles are, the less effective you're going to be able to target them, and the less blood flow you're going to be able to drive into those muscles. And the only way you're going to be able to build muscle or shed fat at all is by doing that, by driving the nutrients, or driving the blood flow into whatever muscle group you're training. So take your time with the warm-up. I honestly recommend even 10 to 15 minutes mark of warming up, whatever your body needs. Okay, if you're young like Mark, you might only need 5 minutes, but if you're like me, I sometimes I spend 20 minutes warming up, and next thing you know, I'm only working out for 40 minutes. So take your time with the warm-up and do it properly.
Yeah, I was told, somebody once said you're only as strong as your weakest link. And for a lot of people, I think even younger, because
Yeah.
we don't think we need the warm up. We're like, oh, we're good, we can go and do this. And I remember, because I was that guy, but I also remember people, when they get older, they get busier. Because now, instead of being single and having the time to work out, and you want to just crush your workout and you race through a warm up, when you get older, you got two kids and you got to run to the grocery store, and then you got to run home from work and all that stuff. And you have more, maybe, responsibilities, so it's not as easy to get in the warm up. But I can tell you, you only as strong as your weakest link. And most people, I would say all ages too, not just for people in their 40s and 50s or people in their 20s and 30s, is that warming up is something that's way underrated for people. They just jump in and do a little bit. So like, I'm a firm believer, like, I believe stretching is important. Actually, we're going to talk about, because that's one of them. But I would say is, warming up, get your body, just like James said, get your body, get the muscles circulating, get, even if it's just going for a walk with the dog before you go for a run, go for your 3 mile run in the day. That's going to be ideal, because what's going to happen if you don't do it, you could potentially get injured, but also could limit or minimize and limit your results. So
Yeah.
I want good results. I know James does. He competes, like, he wants to have that body chiseled, right? I'm just trying to keep it from just overloading, right? I want to some extent keep it chiseled for myself as well, to the best of my ability. And I know if I don't warm up and then I get hurt, then I'm not working out. And if I'm not working out, then my body is just going to get soft, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's just going to
Yeah,
get soft.
and Mark, I actually just want to add something really quick, if you don't mind. You said,
Yeah.
you made a great point. You said, if first of all, if you don't warm up properly, aside from everything that Mark said, you're not gonna be able to get an efficient workout because of this reason, because of the fact that your range of motion might be limited, right? Your flexibility might be limited, right? If like take it for example, I have two messed up shoulders. So if I'm going into the gym and let's just say I'm doing a nice little upper body workout, and let's just say my shoulders are extremely tight, I'm turning my arm, they're cracking, and there's no blood flow in it. If I go to do certain movements like a deadlift or even like a shoulder press, I'm not going to be able to fully perform that exercise, not only using the proper amount of weight, but also I'm not going to be able to target the muscle properly, because if I'm tight, instead of maybe going straight up on the shoulder press like I'm supposed to, I might have my other muscles take over and I might be pushing forward, or I might be going too far back. And if you do things like that, what happens? Like Mark said, well, you're not going to get the results because you're not doing the exercise properly, and you're going to risk injury. So if you want to, again, if you want to have a productive, good workout, stretch. That's all.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we got the workout.
Yeah.
We warmed up beforehand. We know the difference between good soreness and bad soreness, because we got James to set us up with the right plan, the right workouts. You have it, so you understand the difference between soreness and then like pain that's like you got to go see a doctor type pain.
Yep.
We're staying hydrated, so our body's moving. You got the joints that are flowing. And then after the workout, here's the next thing. It's a big tip for people. They don't rest. They don't recover. They don't get enough sleep. They stay stressed. So let's touch on the rest, because I know it's one thing that I see as a limiting factor for people, and also a catalyst for people becoming, having pain or having injuries.
Yeah.
So what do you want to say on that?
Yeah. So Mark, here's the thing, right? For everybody out here watching this, your body, your body isn't, progressing while you're awake. Your body isn't progressing in the gym. Your body isn't even progressing in the kitchen. People always say, yeah, well, abs are made in the kitchen. You see the most results in your diet. That's the hard work. But at the end of the day, your body is morphing. Your body is transforming. The fat is melting off. Your muscles are repairing while you are sleeping. So that's why it's so important to get quality sleep for proper rest and recovery, so that when you do wake up the next day, or whether you do get ready for your next workout at the gym, your body is fully replenished and ready to go. If you don't get a good night of sleep the next day, I can guarantee you that you're gonna have a pretty downward spiraling day. You're gonna have a pretty crappy day. Your mental clarity isn't gonna be there. Your mood isn't gonna be there. You're not gonna have energy. You're gonna be want to lounge around all day and sit on the couch and watch Netflix, And then if you do end up going to the gym, you're yawning the whole time. Like I've seen people on machines on treadmills, they're like, like, why are you here? You know what I mean? Like, no offense, but like, why are you here? Like, if you're gonna come to the gym, do things the right way. And again, that leads to injury, because if you're not paying attention to what you're doing at the gym, you can get injured. But anyways, get your rest, get your recovery. Make sure to treat your body. I say this all the time. Treat your body like it is a Lamborghini. okay? Treat your body like it is an exotic sports car. Take care of it. You don't go and put regular fuel in a Lamborghini. You put 93 octane in a Lamborghini. So why would you treat your body any different? You only get one body. You can't replace it. You have one life. Rest and
You could
recover.
buy another Lamborghini.
You could buy another Lamborghini. Yes, if
You
you
could
have
buy another
for it.
Lamborghini if you got the
Exactly.
funds for it, right?
But I can't
But
just be like, I'm gonna replace James. I can't. So
one
yeah.
of the things, and that's you made such a good point just about resting and getting the results and it happening when you're sleeping. And we share similar. One of the things that happens with rest too is you see two things that happen people are either resting too much. In other words, they're resting too much and not exercising. They're resting at the gym. They're
Yep.
resting, when they're going for, I see people all the time. Hey, and I'm not knocking it. If you're getting off the couch and go for a walk, but if you're wondering why you're not getting results and you're resting during your workout, then you're probably not going to get results. If you've been doing the same workout and only because you don't know how else to work out, because you never asked anybody to help you, chances are you're going to be failing in your workout. So that kind of rest, that's not the rest we're talking about. We're talking about the rest after you get a quality workout. When you have a quality workout that is built from a plan that's for you to get results, that's actually designed for you to get results at the season of life, that the goals you're trying to achieve, it helps to, just like a Lamborghini. You think you're going to take your Lambo, if you had a Lamborghini, you're going to take it down to like the Jiffy Lube to have them change it? No, not anything against Jiffy Lube, right? But if you're going to treat, I know a guy I worked with as a client, he didn't have a Lambo, he had a Ferrari. And he
Okay.
had to take it about 3 hours away from here to Orlando because there's only one Ferrari dealership. I think it's out in Orlando. And I remember he actually, when he had like a little light in it, it was like a $600 little light that went out, and he had to have the whole car shipped all the way out to Orlando to get that car fixed. I'm like, wow, not only was it costly, again, but he did it and the little light. And I was thinking to myself, wow, that took a lot of effort. Well, yes, like resting takes effort. If you want to get results, resting is so important. When you're sleeping at night, here's one little tip, one little side trick, is try to have, one of the things I've done before, and I actually don't have a hard time sleeping. It's definitely something my wife complains about because she has a little harder time sleeping. I think that's just that moms, I don't know, moms out there, if you can attest to this, it's just harder. You have more things on your mind. We tend to, guys, keep things in little boxes. Like we have our sleep box, and then we have our workout box and our food box and our fun, our like toys and that kind of stuff, and then our workout box, all those types of things. And women have it all mixed together. And that's not a bad thing. It's just how women work. They're different than men. So
Yeah.
it's easier maybe for men to fall asleep. But I would say is one of the things that's helped me when the stress of just business and life and family is to have just a little pad of paper, and you just literally write down, you just jot down all the stuff that's on your mind so you can just claim it. Like it's just your brain dump. And actually a great coach by the name of Craig Ballantyne, and he has a great book, Perfect Day Formula, Perfect Week Formula. One of the things he has is to just dump it out, like all the stress. So if you struggle with sleep and you struggle with getting rest, and you have your workouts and they're dialed in because you're working with James and he's got you set up with the workout plan and you're ready to go and you're getting your water in and you know the difference between the soreness and you're getting the right warm-ups, and you learn all that, but you're not getting results and you're wondering, why am I not? And then your workouts are maybe now tiring after a couple of weeks, and you're wondering why, and you're up late at night, you can't sleep. Well, rest. You got to have rest. So they have some supplements and things like that, and there's certain foods, that maybe sleep better. And look, when the reality is when you lose weight, so if you have excess weight on your body, I talk to people all the time, they have trouble sleeping because they have excess weight that's putting weight on their chest and on their lungs, and they have to wear CPAP machines and things like that. So help people with getting off CPAP machines just from simply getting on a better plan. So
Yeah.
that's rest. Let's go into the fifth one, which is the last, and there's 1,000 other ones, but I just want to keep it to 5 and just dial in on those. Kind of goes back into the warm up. Let's talk about stretching, like after the workouts, and just in importance of stretching. And you mentioned flexibility earlier. So you want to touch just on the importance of just to helping avoid injury, to helping to work through that and to help avoid injuries altogether.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, so like I mentioned before, stretching is extremely crucial, before and after your workout. Well, first of all, before, because of the fact that if your muscles are tight, if your muscles are tight, guess what's not happening? You're not getting blood flow. you're not going to be able to get oxygen in there when you're working out. Like, you ever do a bicep curl, or ever go into the gym, even like walking on a treadmill, like on a cold winter day here in New Jersey, you get out of the car, you're like, brr, like you're freezing. You walk into the gym and you start walking on the treadmill, your feet are still cold, like you can't feel anything. And without doing that, without properly stretching out, you're not going to be able to accomplish, again, getting that blood flow to the muscles, getting your body temperature heated up. All right, so that you can have a good workout. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you can have the proper form, you can have the proper mobility, you can get that full stretch, that range of motion, which is necessary for, I would say 90% of exercises to be effective, right? So if you don't do that, and you go into, picking up a weight the wrong way, or crazy. One of my clients, she was going down to pick up a 10-pound plate. Somebody screamed her name from across the room, Magnolia, and she literally got up and she twisted the wrong way, threw her back. She was out for 4 weeks, Mark. I asked her, I go, did you stretch before? No. Why not? Oh, I wouldn't want to. Well, there you go, right? And Mark, she's almost 40, so she's not like 24. So I'm like, yeah, you really have to stretch, right? And after the workout, this is something people neglect. Why do I have to stretch after my workout? Why can't I just hop in my car, Mark, and I go home? Isn't my job done here? Well, you just put your body through so much like stress and terrorizing like your muscles by working them out. You want to make sure that before you sit in the car like this and drive home stiff, for whatever 15, 20 minutes, some people have maybe a 45-minute drive. You want to make sure that you're loose. You want to get out all the knots. You want to crank out anything that's any muscle fibers, any lactic acid that's built up, and you just want to leave the gym loose so that you don't wake up the next day feeling like you got hit by a truck, or preventing any potential injuries. So definitely stretch before and after, and there's different ways to go about it. Mark, I don't know if you want to touch up on that, but definitely do your stretches before and after your workouts. Yes.
Yeah, it's inevitable. I think I would definitely say, and we both, I think, also admitted that we don't necessarily always warm up properly. I didn't take as much time today. We tend to be always rushing, and then we have a 60 or 45-minute workout plan, ready, and we only have 20 minutes to do it. So, then what do? We skip out on the warm up, we skip out on the stretching, we run either to the gym, or whether it's in your living room to do your workout, or in the backyard, or maybe to the park, or however you do your workouts, or you get on that and you don't warm up. And then, the stretching, you touched on it well too, because without your body not just prepared, but also recovered from that good sleep and having your body's ability to move well. The thing is, we all have the ability to move 99%, right? Some people come out and they're born and they don't move well, but the majority of us move well as babies. We lose that ability. Why? Couple things. We get older and we stop moving as much, right? I know when I was in my 20s doing triathlons and teaching spinning and boxing, all that kind of stuff in New York Sports Club, all that stuff. I was to some extent way more active than I am now. I'm an online coach. So I even, I'm sitting and working with people on a computer, and I have to force myself to get out. What I would say is, when you're, regardless of the season of life you're in, if you don't practice that stuff, you start to lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't use your body's ability to move fully, guess what? You lose it. So what is great about stretching, when you're doing the right things, and you did caution us on that, in a sense where there's a right way to stretch before a workout, and there's a wrong way to stretch. There's a right way to stretch after workout. And it's not like, oh, well, here's the stretches that I used to do back in high school or back then. Well, the reality is there's techniques that are important, especially for the difference in age, for even limitations, things that you have, maybe some of the goals that you're trying to achieve. And I don't fully move. I was that guy who couldn't touch my toes literally my entire childhood, because I learned, just because the way it was taught to stretch in the beginning was not the right way. We're not going to get into that, but it wasn't the proper way. It didn't hurt me in my young age, but I had to actually learn it over time. So I learned soft tissue. I learned how to get more mobile in my joints. I never could touch my toes until I was in my mid to late 30s, ever in my life. Couldn't. Now I can put my palms on the ground. And you know what? That helps with me. It helps with my workouts. I have better workouts now. I have stronger workouts. My body's moving more like it did when I was necessarily younger, even though I have some aches and pains. But I can't stress enough the importance of stretching for injury prevention, because think of this. Think of your body is bending to pick something up. You mentioned or twisting, like what was the girl's name? Yeah, Magnolia. So she twisted. Well, maybe if she wasn't warmed up and her body was tight, what happens is, and she was out for 4 weeks, when she twisted, she's still going to turn, but the muscles and the joints and the body wasn't able to turn, so she had to make up for it somewhere else. And that's usually where an injury happens. It's not usually, oh, stretching the muscle like tears. Not necessarily, just means something's probably moving that didn't move naturally, and that causes an injury. A lot of times you see the injuries happen because a certain area of our body is not moving well enough, not flexible enough, and then we still do that move, or we still turn quick, and next thing you know, you're jacked up and you're out for 4 weeks or maybe longer, or maybe you're in the doctor's office getting a prescription for pain medicine, and the next thing you know, you're in an orthopedics office to getting surgery, right?
There you go.
And so overall, 5 things, let's review them. Stretching, important, very important. And if you want to learn how to, should you just go Google search it? Sure, you can do it that. You can wing it. Go wing it. See how that works for you. Go wing that. You can do it. It's maybe better than just trying to guess on your own. Or you can actually have experts that actually can help you and understand exactly what you need based on your body and based on your goals and what you're trying to achieve. And that's what James and I are here for, and that's what we do. So stretching, rest, you learn the importance of resting. That's the second to last one. And then warming up properly. So we know we need to warm up properly. We also need to understand the difference between good soreness and bad soreness. And then the basic one, we started off light with hydration. And I would say is those are typically the 5 things that I see. I think probably 5 things that you often see when people are on the pathway to injury. And it doesn't help us. The reason why we're doing this kind of talk now is it doesn't help us to have somebody in our program, that a coaching program, that's going to get injured, right? So it would obviously, as a coach, from a coach's standpoint, we teach people the proper way that they exercise so that they don't get injured. That's the probably partly of value, not the only thing valuable, but having a coach to help navigate through that. Like we have coaches, business coaches, and have fitness coaches to help navigate through things. It just makes it easier. It makes things like injury prevention way easier, especially at all ages, when you're younger and when you get older. So what do you want to share just to finish it up? And I think we've been on here for 40 minutes or so, but I don't want to take up too much more time. I know we're going to probably do another one of these. You got any last minute thoughts on just injury prevention?
I mean, Mark, you honestly, you took every single last bit of words out of my mouth. This is why, you guys should work with him. He's a great coach. He's really knowledgeable. But no, I mean, everything that, all the 5 main points that we touched up on today, Mark, I just want to stress one thing before, we get off of this. You guys need to start implementing, right? It's me and Mark can sit here all day. We could do this tomorrow, Mark. We could do this Thursday. We could do this 8 days a week. Okay. That means one of the days we probably have to go live twice. I don't know. It's a millennial term. Some people might not understand it. But listen, if we giving you all this quality information, please, ladies and gentlemen out there, utilize it. Ask Mark for help. Ask myself for help. Put it into action. Just like something our business coach, Vince, tells us all the time. I can give you all the knowledge in the world. I can give you all the tools to build a successful business. But if you don't implement it, you're still gonna, you're still gonna be stuck right where you are. So if you're, looking to lose weight or, go on a fitness journey the proper way, doing it the right way, injury-free, and achieve the body that you've always wanted without all the other unnecessary pain and time out, then you got to start implementing. You got to start stretching. You got to start hydrating. You got to start getting your rest. You got to know the difference between good soreness and bad soreness, right? You got to warm up properly. So implement, and just don't let your head take over. Sometimes we let our egos take over. And Mark, I think, maybe you would agree. A lot of times this is more so men. Like, we go into the gym and like, yeah, I could deadlift 400 pounds. I did it when I was, 20. And then, you see the 20-year-old next to you doing it. You go to pick it up. You don't warm up. You don't stretch out. You break your back. You're out for the rest of your life. Next thing you know, you're 70 and depressed. So we don't want that to happen. Right? I don't even know where I came up with it, but you don't want that to happen. And other than that, Mark, I mean, just thank you for having me on, man. I had a great time. I didn't even realize it's been 40 minutes, but I had a great time. Man. I hope you guys found value to this, honestly.
Yeah, it's let's finish it off here. Action steps. It takes action. I talk about this all the time. I like to talk, and I take it you like to talk too. We can share all of the knowledge and all the experience and all the success stories, but really what only matters is your story. And
Yes.
the only thing that's going to move for you to improve in your health, to avoid injuries, is taking action. Like, I could wish that I had a better body. I could wish that I didn't have, the excess pounds on the sides, the dad bod. I could wish that I could do the 400 pounds. I could wish that I could have less aches and pains. I could wish that I could have better night's sleep and enjoy life to full. You can all the wishing in the world, right? But if you don't take action, nothing's going to happen. Like, that's the one thing. We might have instant gratification from so many other things in this world, but you actually have to take action steps. The good news is you don't have to know it all. In fact,
Right.
most people don't. That's why there's people like James and I who exist. And I would say, let's finish it here, James, on an action step. So my audience, I know, knows how to reach out to me. Where can they reach out to you as far as, wanting to get in touch with you, knowing more? Your business is called Boundless Fitness, but I'm sure they can find you just on Facebook. And where else? Where is the easiest way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, honestly, guys, if you want to get a hold of me, you can just send me a nice little direct message. Friend request me on my profile. Mark tagged me above somewhere in this post. So just click on my name, send me a friend request, and then just simply message me with the word abs, ABS. If you're looking for any sort of help, if you have any questions that you want to ask me, just simply type me the one word abs, okay, like six-pack abs, and I'll answer any questions that you have. I'll help you in any way in the best of my abilities, and hopefully, I can help you get off the ground and running, and on the way to accomplishing the body that you've always wanted. So Facebook,
Awesome. Awesome.
you guys can just reach out to me over Facebook. That'd be the easiest way.
Awesome. I'm doing it now. I want abs, man. I'm sending it over.
Let's do it. I
I've
want to
seen
look
your
like
abs.
you. I want to look
Dude,
like you, dude.
I've seen your abs. They're chisel. It's good stuff.
Thanks, man. I
All
appreciate
right,
it.
guys. Hey, thanks for chiming in. If you're catching this on the replay, even if you're watching live and you watch, what we want to know is, what was your biggest take home right now? I want you to drop that in the comments below. So out of those 5 tips to help avoid injuries when you exercise, I'd love to know which one you thought was the best one, that resonated most from you. If you catch this on the replay, just drop that down below as well. And that's it from James and I. We'll probably be doing another one soon. Take care and God bless. We'll see you soon.
Later, guys.